One of the most irritating things when you're trying to buy a home is being in a multiple offer situation.
It may be time to get creative if you're looking to buy or sell a home right now. High interest rates and low inventory aren't making it easy.
Like, there has to be other options. Like, it was just ridiculous.
But buyers like Palmer have had to overcome big obstacles. Affordability, interest rates, and a lack of inventory.
In this video, I'm going to show you some strategies that I've used for many of my clients as a top producing real estate agent and how we've been able to actually get very tough properties under contract. Let's get right into it. Number one is going to be your loan type. Okay, so when you're looking for a home, most first-time home buyers end up going FHA versus conventional. So if there is a way for you to switch between FHA to conventional, I strongly recommend it, and here's why. When you are going into homeownership, it's nothing wrong with going FHA. However, if a seller is presented with an FHA offer versus a conventional offer, then they're more than likely going to choose a conventional offer simply because if they do the inspection, if they find something, then they may not necessarily be forced to fix it as a seller. You see, when you have an FHA loan, then they have to do an appraisal. Along with that appraisal also comes with what I like to call like more of a safety inspection. They like to make sure that there's no peeling paint, that there's no cracks in certain areas of the property, things of that sort. It's not going to be every single small thing, but one of the biggest things is always going to be, painting, chip paint. They're looking to make sure that, again, certain things are safe. In short, if they find a list of things like handrails that are missing or whatever the case may be, then they're going to put you in a position where they say, hey, listen, we will approve this loan and this home is worth the value, but these repairs must get done. Now, again, the fact that those repairs have to get done doesn't necessarily mean that the seller has to do it, but in about 95% of cases, the sellers assume to do it, okay? That now forces the seller to go ahead and get these repairs done versus if they do a conventional offer, they still do an appraisal, but most conventional appraisals will not include some type of safety inspection or any inspection at all. Usually it's, hey, you like this house? Here's the loan for this house in most cases with conventional. So doing that most definitely will put the seller in a good position if you're able to do that. Number two, it's not all about price, and we'll get to that in a second, but price most definitely plays a role. For example, if you make an offer for $300,000 on a house that's on the market for $305,000, then there's nothing wrong with necessarily doing that per se, depending on the market, depending on how long it's been on the market as well too. So we'll get to that in another video. But let's just say you did that. You made an offer for $300,000 and the list price is $305,000. A day goes by and they finally get back to you and they say, hey, we counter at list price $305,000. And then you're being, I won't say difficult, but you're saying, you know what, let me just see if we can go $302,500 or whatever, right? Here's what ends up happening. All it takes is one offer, one additional offer to put yourself in what they call a multiple offer situation. A multiple offer situation just simply means that now they have two offers on the table. Your offer, even if it was the first one or the second one, and then another offer to come right behind it, okay? Again, it doesn't necessarily matter the order that it was in, but you're not the only one that made an offer on that property. Now that you have now given them your offer, they're essentially saying, hey, we need highest and best by X date, X time. That's usually what they end up doing. If the sellers have already made up their mind on which contract they want to go with, then they won't even tell you that you're in a multiple offer situation. But the reason why they're telling you is because now they want you to fight with that other person, not in real life, but they essentially want you all to essentially fight for the property on paper, saying how bad do you want it. One of the things you may have to do is essentially go to list price or above list price. I always tell people, if you really want the house, you need to go above list price. I know it's not ideal. I know it's not something you want to do. And we'll talk about essentially how that affects things. So for example, let's say you go up to $307,000 and list price was $305,000. There's no telling what that other person has done. So you may want to consider another, what they call an add-on. So you may want to consider adding on what they call an escalation clause. It's also known as a price escalation clause. Essentially, a price escalation clause simply means that, hey, I'm offering X number, but if you get another offer above this number that I'm putting inside the blank, okay, then automatically increase my offer by $100, by $1, by $500 without me necessarily having to tell you to do that, okay? So the price escalation, some states don't even allow this. The state of Illinois does because they always trying to make money. Either way, some states don't allow this, and some people feel like it's not a right way to do business, but this is a legal document that is a part of the Realtors Association, so it allows people to put themselves in position to say, hey, for example, I'll give you guys a great example. Let's say offer one was $305,000, okay? So, and then let's say offer two, which you would know what the other person offered, okay? But let's just say they offered the same number as you, which is 305. Let's just say that they did, okay? Your escalation clause would say, hey, I am offering $305,000, but if you get an offer that is at this same exact number, okay, then, and it doesn't have to be 305 for 305, but just watch where my example is going. So 305,000, if you get an offer for this number, my offer automatically increases $1, $100, or $500, whatever you want to put in there. You do that, now they've gotten that other offer, now they have your escalation clause. They now say, hey, based on your escalation clause, we would like to go with your offer. Then you have to redo the contract because now they'll tell you what that number is. Now, here's the catch. You cannot disclose confidential information, but they can show proof that they did get a contract in without showing the actual names and all that, just saying, hey, this is what we got, and they redact it or whatever they need to do and say, this is the offer that we just got. And of course, based on your escalation clause, you now say you want to move forward. Now, an escalation clause does not bind you to anything because you still have to sign the contract, and of course, you still have to sign the disclosures and everything else. Because the reason why I bring this up is because sometimes sellers take a while to actually get back to buyers, or sometimes it's a seller's agent as well too. And now time has passed, whether it's a day or two, you've now moved on to other properties, put in other offers. You may not be interested in that property anymore, okay? So a price escalation clause is one of the most slept on documents in real estate. Number 3 is going to be closing date. If you can move the closing date and make things a little bit easier for the seller, or find out what their situation is. Are they trying to, leave by a certain time? Are they trying to close by a certain time? Are they buying and selling at the same time? Are they moving out of state? Do they need time to move all their stuff out of the property? These things are going to be key. So make sure that your real estate agent is having a conversation, not just sending over an offer and say, hey, let me know what you think. Make sure they have a conversation with that other agent and say, hey, how can we make a deal? And I'm telling you, just by simply saying, hey, how can we make a deal? How can we put some together? How can we get to the closing table? We're flexible. What are we trying to do here, right? That doesn't necessarily give away a position, especially when you have a multiple offer situation. It's more so just saying, hey, what is the seller looking for? And they'll say, hey, listen, honestly, the seller's looking for XYZ. Now, again, don't expect everyone to always give confidential information, because there are certain things that's confidential and certain things that's not. But you'd be surprised. Some real estate agents will simply say, hey, listen, my seller's not looking to play any games. They simply said they're not trying to fix anything inside the house. So if you still can do your inspection, but if you decide to take the property as is after your personal inspection, of course, so you know what condition the property is, then they'll go ahead and accept your offer. You'd be surprised how many times I've gotten under contract by simply saying, hey, how can we make a deal? What do we need to do? And again, 60 to 70% of agents are saying, hey, listen, just send your highest and best and we'll go from there. But some agents say, hey, listen, this is what you need to do. So again, you have to make sure that your agent is asking the question to make sure that they're doing everything in their power to get you under contract, okay? And those are the top 3 ways. There's some other things you guys can do too. Like, for example, it may not be, doing the inspection or taking it as is. It may be not asking for closing cost credits. It may be not asking for a warranty. Again, find out really what the seller's looking for to make sure that everything is mutual, because everything's not always priced. Sometimes it's just finding the right buyer that's going to give them 2 weeks because they're waiting on something as well too after closing. So you just never know what that's going to be. But of course, closed mouths don't get fed. Make sure your agent is asking the right questions, okay? And if you like this video, you're most definitely going to love the next one, and I'll see you there.